Rogue, the professor.
Oh, what is that shirt? Alright, X-Men 97. This show has had a tough ride before the release. Fans thought the show was going to be dead on arrival because when hiring the original director, they cared more about his experience being gay and black more than anything. And then a couple weeks before the release, he was fired because of new pics or something, which is wild. But I'm not gonna lie to you, these 3 episodes are bangers so far. Is it just me? I honestly did not expect to like it so much. And a lot of what's been happening in the show is from the Uncanny X-Men storylines. So the first 2 episodes show Cyclops and him taking on the mantle of Charles Xavier after his apparent death. Imagine having to juggle the responsibilities of leading a mutant team filled with different powers and personalities, with one of them in particular trying to steal your wife the first chance he gets. All that without the guidance of the man the team's named after, someone that Cyclops owes his life to, and is like a father figure in many ways, is tough. It's like you're in a tunnel with no sense of direction, no signs of light. Luckily, a potential solution does come around, but in the form of the man that's tried and succeeded on hurting Xavier multiple times and is now the newfound successor of Xavier's estate, which was all written in his will. Magneto taking over is from Uncanny X-Men number 200 and is one of the many changes made to this because in the comic, Xavier told Magneto to take over his school face to face in a garden while he was dying, and that made the whole thing more heartwarming and personal. There, you truly understand why Xavier chose Magneto to run his school instead of someone like Cyclops or Beast, and it really cemented their relationship as more than friends and rivals, but really brothers with opposing views. And over time, he took his responsibility more seriously. In the show though, he came in with this more resolute and adamant attitude about his new position out of the gate, which isn't as good as the comics, but is far from bad and I think was a good change, you know? Especially when you consider the fact that he's f***ing Rogue right now. Bro, like when he says he's taking over, he really means it. And this isn't the first time we've seen this. Uncanny X-Men number 274 is when Rogue winds up in the Savage Land with Magneto, and of course, her powers are temporarily unavailable, so with nothing to do, they do each other while they try to figure out a way out. Later on, they go to the trial with the United Nations, and that whole thing was really freaking cool. Coming from number 200 when Magneto gives a fire speech about the hypocrisy of humankind and how he wants to change his ways to fulfill Xavier's dream. But a fight breaks out once some protesters bust in and Storm makes the ultimate sacrifice when she saves Magneto from getting his powers taken away by the Executioner, which is kind of a cool name, who's a former FBI agent, which is a bit different from its origins in number 185 when Federal Agent Henry Gyrich was just super set on taking away Rogue's powers and using a gun he stole from Forge to track her down after Rogue ran away from the school. At the same time, both Storm and Henry find Rogue, and when he attempts to shoot her with the gun, Storm hops in front of her and saves her life, but at the cost of her own powers. And personally, I like this change a lot too, because of course it makes sense why Storm would jump in front of Rogue. But the fact that she jumped to save Magneto just tells me that she didn't do it for Magneto, but purely for Xavier. That goes to show you just how much she loves this man, because even though she doesn't like Magneto, she knows that Xavier chose him for a reason, and her love for Xavier outshines anything else. But I'm not gonna lie, it still broke me, dude. Like, she's an Omega level mutant, dude, and her losing her powers was so heartbreaking, because she lost more than her powers, bro. She lost her identity, like her life, really. That loss severed her connection with the Earth, it feels like, and her family. And the second episode really hammered down on that in an amazing way. Bro, even the dude that shot her knew he messed up and tried to run away. And then her no almost got your boy emotional, I'm not gonna lie to you. But that stopped as soon as another Jean Grey came in, which happened to be the real one.
Yo, what the fuck?
Which means Cyclops was f***ing a clone this whole time, which is good and bad, right? To be honest, it's bad because she wasn't the real Jean Grey, you know? She's been suffering this whole time, which means her husband pretty much had a child with another woman. But think about the benefits. It's twins. Jean Grey and her sister, pretty much. hey, Cyclops is goated. Seeing the creation of the Goblin Queen was really cool, and I'd probably do the same thing if I figured out I was a clone and my life was a lie, but it was unfortunate that we couldn't adapt the whole storyline of X-Men Inferno, because it was a huge crossover event filled with demons and a bunch of different heroes like Spider-Man and the Avengers. But what we got wasn't bad either, because the animation was top-notch. It was cool seeing the X-Men dealing with their fears, like Gambit dealing with his girl being stolen, Sunspot and him being accepted from his family, and Morph, especially Morph. Mr. Sinister looked dope, and overall, it was solid. What wasn't solid though, I gotta admit, man, was this dude. I swear, bro, I really don't know why they're doing this. Like, don't let Morph and Wolverine get together. I don't want to see that. Talking about some, oh, let me help you with those hard-to-reach places. Man, if you don't get your cement face on somewhere, and what's crazy is that I actually like Morph in this. Especially his new form, because even though I think he looks like a giggling white goblin, him being in that form while at the mansion really says a lot. It means he's genuinely comfortable being himself with the team. You know, like he's an X-Men again and he's proud of it. But in the outside world, he still portrays himself as a normal, most likely straight dude in order to not get called out, ridiculed, seen as lesser than, or anything along that nature. And that's good. They're not making a big deal about the whole non-binary thing because frankly, even though it's getting a lot better, not that many people are open to accepting non-binary, trans people or anything like that. So them doing things subtly in the first 2 episodes made me have more respect and want to be more open-minded towards people that categorize themselves in this way and see their struggles just as much as anyone else's. But on episode 3, I gotta admit, they was really putting me through the ringer, bro. Cause I just don't want to see that interesting buddy-buddy relationship they were talking about, man. Like, I really don't. So I like him, but it's a bit hard, I'll be honest. But it's probably just a me thing more than anything. Let me know what y'all think. And speaking of buddy-buddy, I feel so bad for Gambit, bro. Since the jump, he's never really had a moment to shine. He was just a member of the team that flirted on Rogue, really. And now he's witnessing his girl getting metal piped by an older man. And Morph didn't make it any better. I really hope they start redeeming Gambit, bro. Like, they already started with him in Wolverine, so please do more with him than just that. As for everyone else, they're solid. Sunspot really has the same origin as Jubilee in the first episode of the OG show, and it's really nice. Plus, in the first show, Jubilee was falling for any dude that caught her eye, and it almost but always ended up with them either saying, "You're too young," or "I just don't want you," or something like that, you know? But now she's big chillin', and I don't have any complaints with Sunspot. I really hope we see more of him. So yeah, overall, man, I've gotta give these 3 episodes an A. Like, the animation is solid, the voice acting is superb, and the writing is good for the most part. And I also love the new opening. In fact, the whole aesthetic looks old and new at the same time. And the ending with them spinning like in the 90s, it's so cool. I bet this is how it felt being a kid watching this when the show was first airing, man, and that's pretty cool. So yeah, just please give me more Beast quotes, more Gambit and Sunspot, and less flirting between Wolverine and Morph, and I'll be a happy camper. Anyways, more content coming soon about this show and the X-Men, and yeah, I'll catch y'all in the next one. Peace out.